And funding for the rest of this fiscal year. A bipartisan group of senators is trying to find consensus on a long-term plan to tackle the nation's deficit. Democratic Senator Mark Warner serves on the Budget Committee and is part of that bipartisan group. Welcome, Senator. Thank you very much. Well,
thanks,
a lot of criticism back and forth that the president has punted, that he's not tackled the real issues. The White House saying that the Republicans have to go first and they are not talking about entitlements. The president very clearly at his news conference yesterday was not shutting off the possibility of a grand bargain. Where we stand today?
Well, Andrea, I think the only way we get this done is with a grand bargain. If all we continue to debate is the non-defense domestic discretionary spending, which is about 12% of what we spend, then you're going to see the kind of draconian cuts that have starting to come out of the House. So we've got to recognize you're not going to solve this problem overnight. Taking the Deficit Commission report as a plan, as a starting point, and saying let's put that out there. It deals with the tax code. It deals with cutting. It also deals with recognizing you still got to grow the economy, because without economic growth, you're not going to get there as well. But there's something in that plan for everybody to hate, but it also is kind of got the sense that everybody's got some skin in the game. And so far, I'm finding in the Senate, we've got a working group of about 6 of us that are working on this, and enormous amounts of interest, bipartisan interest, as we kind of try to get something that we could present to our colleagues.
You know, real damage can take place in programs, in PBS and other programs. Right. By going ahead with some of the president's proposals to make immediate domestic cuts in the new budget. Why even go there? Why not tackle the entitlements first, rather than zeroing out Teach for America?
Well, I agree with that, especially as we think about how we're going to make sure we're going to stay competitive with a well-educated workforce. But if we focus all our time just on this narrow pie, you're forced into these choices. Remember, Andrea, every day that we don't act, not to the deficit, but to the national debt, we add $4 billion a day. So these choices are going to get only worse. So I think, you're going to if you're not going to do all this kind of short-term spending cut, which will cut back on some of these initiatives, which are worthy in terms of long-term economic competitiveness, you got to take on entitlements. That's what the Deficit Commission does. That's what we're working on. It's got to take on defense, got to look at our tax code, lower our rates, make it a little more progressive, but frankly, get rid of some of our tax expenditures that we've all gotten used to.
I wanted to play a little bit of Alan Simpson, the co-chair of the Fiscal Commission, on NPR, talking about cuts in home heating oil aid for the poor. Let's listen.
That's a critically important thing, and it shouldn't be even touched. You don't need to touch that. You need to go get rid of 250,000 contractors in the Defense Department, where you can really pick up some small change. Child nutrition, WIC, those things don't need to be chopped up. Go for the chunk. Go in there to the Medicare and start hammering in there, and that's what we tried to do with the $400 billion cut.
The Fiscal Commission has not rejected its recommendations by the president, but hasn't been embraced yet.
Well, I understand that. There's going to be some back and forth between the House and the president. What I think we're trying to offer is a path forward, a bipartisan path forward. We're going to take some arrows. There's something in that fiscal plan for everybody to hate. But if you don't put these things out there, and I actually think the American people, if they feel like everybody's got some skin in the game, I think they will be willing to step up and say, we're willing to get our balance sheet in order. It's going to take looking at the revenue side. It's going to take looking at the spending side. It's going to also take a plan to grow the economy, because if we don't do that, you can't tax or cut your way out of this problem.
Well, it's great to see you, Mark Warner. Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you,
Keep coming back and letting us know.